Hello everyone and welcome back to the NONA Sports Show. You might be thinking, where'd the table go? Well, we got rid of it for this episode, Patrick, because we are obviously working in the Academy and Studio part, which you will see the new episodes very soon. Anyway, we're still here. We still have the show for you guys. It's a brand new week, and of course, we have a lot to catch up on, Patrick.
Yes, we do.
I'm Edgar Rodriguez. He's Patrick Deleon, my friend.
Yes.
Ready to get going on a brand new episode.
Yes, I'm excited for this one.
Let's do it. So, of course, we got to recap the NONA FC season. It's gone.
It's all done already.
It's over.
It just started, right?
Right?
It just started.
But we will absolutely recap, talk about the biggest moments, biggest goals, biggest memories, right, from this season. It was a very successful one, of course, on and off the field. Then we'll talk Club World Cup. Yes, that is also long gone, but we still have to give our thoughts on it. What we thought, did it live up to expectation? Was the controversy, warranted? All of that nonsense. And then transfer news, because the transfer window, we kind of got off to a slow start, Patrick, but we're heating up a little bit.
And I'm excited to see how the rest of the offseason is going to shape up leading into the next season, not just for stuff here in Lake Nona, but European football as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how things start coming together.
Teams are already going on their preseason tours.
Oh,
I mean, it just doesn't stop. So it's a lot to catch up on, but let's dive straight in. So we're going to start with the NONA segment. We're going to start with the NONA FC news, and we're going to start with a little something special that our very own full-time intern, Andrew Montana, cooked up for us this season. He was at almost every training session, Patrick. He was running around during game day.
Yeah, I felt bad.
Making sure the water bottles were filled, making sure the balls were in place all around the field. He was doing everything and anything you can think of. And somehow he found time to make this very special news package, let's call it. So enjoy it. It's about 10-ish minutes long, but we'll come back after this.
In a world driven by money and fame, there are those who stay rooted in their core beliefs. One of them lives here in Central Florida. NONA FC. A club dedicated to its community. One where soccer is only half the story.
As for the players, they come from around the world to comprise this team.
Some play to become pros, to get better, to prove a point, but they all have one thing in common. The ultimate goal for any team, club, or organization is success. Out of 6 teams in the USL2 Southeast Division, only one could be dubbed as victor. And unfortunately for the Longhorns, that opportunity passed in late June as Sporting Jacks sat atop the Southeast. Nevertheless, the Longhorns were never too far behind, sitting comfortably at second place with 8 victories. Despite going 0-2 against Sporting Jacks this season, it was Brave SC that ruined the party for NONA.
The first day or two after that, it's like we got hit by a big rock, because that's what everyone wanted, to win the lead. But football, soccer never goes straight to last buzzer.
We had a red card in the first half, so it makes it very, very hard for us. But it was we were a little bit disappointed by the loss.
The Rodeo Derby sadly remained one-sided in 2025, but it wasn't the only obstacle these guys faced this summer.
Recovery from the losses, even though we have a strong team mentally, but I feel like those losses had a big impact on our team in the mental. Being away from family, friends, girlfriend, but part of life. Everyone chose to be here, spend time away from family, from their loved ones. Just have to stick with the choices.
I think my injury on my knee, just been starting playing a lot of minutes, and then just had to sit down for a few games. It was the hardest.
Regarding injuries, Navas wasn't even the only one who caught that bug. Enrique Cruz was sidelined for the first 3 matches. Christian Kraus missed 7 games with an ankle injury. Both Alex Farinack and the equipment manager suffered shoulder dislocations. The list sadly goes on and on, as injuries are an unfortunate part of life, where it's all sunshine and rainbows, until something strikes. The Austin Tyndall sky has been nothing short of unfriendly the last month. Games got postponed. Rainwater took over the stadium. Even some equipment was blown into areas it shouldn't be. But after the thunder, the silence is deeper. The air is more honest. And it's in that stillness that healing begins. This summer brought about so many new and different settings for the team to take in. Airport Lakes Park, Celebration,
Bien, Cristian, bien. Voltea. 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 3. Yeah, no English. Only Patwa.
Faith Christian Academy, and who can forget Lakefront Park in St. Cloud.
Get that, bro.
These memories and so many more helped forge an unbreakable bond among these athletes. The chemistry on the team has built up exponentially since the first practice on May 5th. Some might even say a little too much so.
What can you say about the chemistry of the team and how everybody's grown together through the course of the season?
I'd say it's pretty. It's pretty good because everybody came together from different colleges, from different.
Every training, the training session was totally good. With the music, with the guys before and after the trainings, the games too. And I think, every day, every day, the chemistry and having fun with the guys. So, spending time with the guys at practice, away games, everything with the coaching staff. I think has been good. I've been NONA since 3 years. So I think making my debut also coming from the academy, just playing my first game here, is just amazing.
Every single player's commitment to sporting the orange and white all season long has been a sight for sore eyes.
Mic'd up, bro. Where you going? Yo, you're the ups. Shut up.
You picked the wrong guy to mic up.
Nah.
He barely talks.
Performing during a match can be a tall task, so minimizing its difficulty is done best in practice.
Hey! Good more. Stop!
The coaching staff put in countless hours and miles, kilometers, to muster up multiple sessions a week.
Good. Keep moving the ball. Push up.
Then I would show a little bit of triggers on what we're going to be looking for.
Opponents and matchups change every time. So why shouldn't your game plan? Every day and every week brought about new mountains for the Longhorns to climb. And if it weren't for the brotherhood every single individual invested in, a season that balanced this much success and joy would have simply been impossible. Sharing early mornings,
Yo, Parker's nice, low key. Yeah, tight. Away! Big ball up! Drive!
late nights,
Vamos, Nona.
fiery workouts, huddles, laughs. They all bring about the underlying reason for it all. It's why we got into it. It's why we stay in it. And it's why we'll never leave it.
All right, so I think that encapsulates the season well, Patrick, doesn't it? I mean, having that insight, of course, unrestricted provided that, right? But this is an even different view to how the season went. How would you briefly surmise the season?
Look, I mean, there's so many different things that has happened, both on
lot,
the field
yes.
and off the field.
Absolutely.
I mean, even comparing it to last season, in every aspect, I almost feel like it just went up a little bit.
Yeah.
At least.
I would
right?
agree.
Everything that we were doing, behind the scenes, everybody else that was working out or helping work behind the scenes as well. I mean, it was a really good team. We did a lot of stuff. We made sure that everything was as perfect as it could be, right? On the field, I mean, second place, 1 point behind first place, just 1 point. That's painful, but
It is. It's bittersweet almost when you look at the table.
I know, but it's just 1 point makes all the difference.
It
But
does.
I mean, we've identified, the issues, I think, the problems that were going on, but that's just part of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You take what you can from it, you learn from it. And especially seeing how this season was already different from the beginning and using academy players, making sure that they can get their experience as well. Seeing how that's going to shape up for next year. I mean, there's a lot you can take away from that, I think. And I think it shows, like, look, yeah, we finished second place, but we relied a lot on academy product to get there.
Yes.
So I think that just shows where we are in terms of relying on our own homegrown talent, just how good we actually can be.
It was a growing season, I would say. A lot of learning curves, right? A lot of new in the just overall on and off the field. Just starting with the intern team, double of what we had for the 2024 season. Talk about the academy players. 5 were, in the squad for most of the year. A 6th came on, a 2009 Patrick. We were on the call for the game, and we were like, we're so old, man. We're unk status at this point because 2009 is ridiculous, and he was playing USL too.
Yeah.
He played 10 minutes. Sebas, of course, Arismendi, and he didn't do a thing wrong. So well done to you, Sebas. He'll, of course, hit the field with his actual 09 team starting tomorrow at the Wide World of Sports. That's going to be incredible.
Think about it.
09 hitting the field.
09, and then within the next, say, 2-3 years, even next year, we're just going to have a whole other, I think, wave of new talent come into that squad. And it's going to be very exciting to see how they can fit in, because some of the guys, obviously, that, like we've said it so many times, have already looked the part. They already look like they can settle in just fine.
Exactly. I mean, it was so many small victories, right,
Yeah.
which led to the season overall. You can look back on it and say, you know what, it was successful, even though, yes, we missed out by the slimmest of margins, right? It was the same thing in 2024, by goal difference, right?
Yeah.
But, we stay in second place, third year in a row, actually. I think it might be me. Sorry, Nona fam. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, if you didn't know. So
Second place
second
runs-
place 3 times in a row.
It's normal.
Well, hopefully.
4 times the charm.
Oh, yes, exactly right.
Oh, man.
But I mean, wow, you just look at everything, right, the team achieved, everything we achieved overall as a staff, as a club in general. It's a lot to be proud of this season. One of the things we absolutely stepped up on was the coverage of the team, right?
Yeah.
I already mentioned it with Unrestricted. I already mentioned it with the broadcast. We were at the stadium this year as well, something we did not have. You have very vivid memories of last season where we were in the broadcast trailer on the side of the pitch.
Yeah.
We weren't even looking at the
Not
game
even looking at
live,
the
right?
field.
Like
that
with
was
our own
the hard
eyes,
part, I think.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, everything just went up a level, and I think that ultimately transmitted its way onto the field, transmitted its
so,
way to the
because
players.
I think
everyone got the memo.
intentionally or not, it almost feels like, you're trying to replicate a professional setting as best as you can, right?
Absolutely.
So I think if you can more or less achieve that, especially with players on the field, I think they get that vibe of like, okay, more eyes are on me now, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole production going on behind the scenes. You just got to make it worthwhile.
You get the feeling that, this is important.
It's a little
this
bit more
matters.
urgent, right? Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit more urgent in the sense that, okay, like everybody's putting as much time and effort as they can into this. We got to do our part, right? And look, it's only going to get better. Like really, I would say this year it was just a kind of a trial run to figure out
I agree.
how to really iron out the wrinkles for next year and so on.
And it's important to set the bar right here, right?
Yeah.
Right from the start. Because if you don't, then, you don't have anything to really leverage your performance against. But absolutely, I would say tons and tons of successes on and off the field this year. Let's give a brief synopsis of the season. So we started out very well. 2 wins, no goals conceded in the first 2 games. I mean, we got off to a flying start. We were just talking with Andre Navas. You'll see the first episode of Academy in Studio very soon. But he scored that day. I mean, the sun was shining, no rain. We got off to the perfect start.
Right. Yeah. And look, it was, wow. That was already in May. That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
That's so crazy. Already 2 months ago.
Where did the
But,
time go, man?
I mean, look, that's something we anticipated, though, right? That it was going to be a gauntlet, just of games and games and games back and forth, almost like every 3 days at some points.
Yeah.
But it was very exciting to kind of just get things going, get the ball rolling. You had the Benny free kick in that game as well.
Yes.
And, I mean, look, the real rough patch, I can't even say we had necessarily like a rough patch, but it was really just individual moments and, decisions that ultimately can alter your whole season, right?
Yeah.
But this kind of segues into my favorite, I think, moment or part of the season.
Go ahead.
Even though, after this, we would go on, face Brave for the first time this year, even though we would come back without any points, I still think that day, that match day as a whole, that matchup in general, was probably my favorite.
Away at Brave.
Yeah, away at Brave. And,
Apart from the score.
yeah, I mean, could have gone our way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was,
100%.
but I think it's something I was like, that's just part of it. But those are the little moments that I think matter just all the little bit more. If imagine we had tied or won that game, different story right now.
Completely different story.
But I think in hindsight, I think that just gives it a little bit more value to me. It's like it was a crazy, chaotic, 90 minutes on the field, but it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that.
And when I actually had Fabio on the call for Brave at home, and I think I mentioned another result around the league, and I was like, surprising result, and he said, there are no surprising results in this league.
Yeah,
and I think
there's none.
this season,
not just from our end,
100%,
but for everybody in
agree.
general. Like I had no idea Jacksonville were gonna finish at the top of the standings in the beginning of the season. Everybody takes points off everybody, and it's extremely hard to work around.
I think last season it was more kind of straight cut. It was us and Brave. no one really else fighting for playoffs, no one else fighting for the title. You had your levels last season. This season, though, I mean, you had Brevard beating Jax earlier in the season.
Yeah.
You had us not able to get points off of first or third, right? And Jax or Brave. You had just craziness all around the table, right? And so I think that just made for a chaotic season. When you looked at the table, every time you looked, there was a slight change. There was a slight movement, right? It was unbelievable in that aspect, and it kept everyone on their toes. Because yes, we got off to the 2 wins, and then like you said, Jack's at home.
Yeah.
Tough, right?
Tough, yeah.
You win against Brookhouse, but then you go away to Brave. Tough, there was just never a moment's rest.
Yeah, no, and I think that was just the challenging part. How do you manage that, especially in such short turnarounds?
Yes.
Like, it's a challenge in itself that everybody has to navigate. But, I mean, aside from that, again, these are all things that I think everybody, anticipated. It's just, it's always going to be hard to manage, though. Only the best of the best can really manage it. And ultimately, that's who gets crowned USL2 champion, right? Out of, 140-something teams? So
144.
It's a big, big, big mountain to climb. But even if you just manage to at least go far or something, then it's really... I mean, honestly, screw that. It's valuable experience regardless of how it ends
most
up.
Important. Absolutely. We talk about not making the playoffs, but like you said, it's yes, it's always nice. Yeah, you get to go on your trip and you get to play against different opponents, right? But this season, with all of the new components, we haven't even talked about the coaching staff yet. Let's have a word on that. Bruno Jaeger, right? He started out as being involved in summer camp here at NONA, not full time at all. Now he coaches the top teams in the academy. Now he coaches USL2. He brought his whole coaching staff. Donovan, Marcelo, Vinny, all academy coaches. That is rare. You don't see that everywhere when you look at the USL2 landscape, and that is another thing to be proud of. They did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the thing that we like here. We like having everything to be as authentic and organic as possible to NONA. And whether it's just the coaching staff or introducing academy players or whatever, I think it adds a lot more to the culture. I think it just adds so much more, and it just allows the players that are already familiar, right, with the environment, with, maybe not directly the coaches, but they at least know who they are because they see them out in training or something.
Absolutely.
They're already used to it, right? So it really just becomes another home for them.
Absolutely, I agree. And you make that family atmosphere right from the start.
Yeah,
right from the start. Like you said, it's an easier transition for those boys who have already worn this badge, right? Who already know what it is to be here at NONA, to play here at NONA. Absolutely, it was a seamless transition, and it's valuable experience for them too. You talk about experience for interns, for players, for staff, for the coaches as well. Because Bruno, for example, had probably never really recruited to this level, right? College D1 players who fits in, right? Who fits in with our mold, with our playing style, all of that stuff. And for the other coaches as well. Just takes their level up, especially this season, of course, going into MLS next. We've already spoken at length about that. Going into NAL, it's just a step up for everyone, right? And I think USL2 sets the tone in the summer, and there's no going back from it now. There's no going back from it now. I was going to run through all the rest of the results, but you would have seen it on your screen. We've already spoken about all the results, right, throughout the season. We ended up 8-4 on the season, 17 goals scored, just 7 conceded. A record for NONA, record amount of clean sheets, a top 5 defense in the nation when you look at USL2, a top defense in Florida when you look at USL2. Yes, we talk about teams like Sarasota, right, making the step up to League One. Yes, those teams, Lauderdale as well, I think making the step up. Jack's looking to do that in the future. Those steal the spotlights, right? But it's a cliche that defense wins championships. It wasn't this year, but we were absolutely solid. That was never a doubt for us.
Never a doubt. Yeah, I agree. Never something that I felt that needed to be fixed, changed, nothing. Defensively, it was always very okay, we're comfortable back there, right? Again, it's just little things, injuries happen. Yeah. The right pieces, up front. Ultimately, that's kind of what really decided the season, but that's part of the game. Everybody has one of those years where it's just you just can't necessarily figure out to the level that you want. But you we definitely saw the glimpses of that at least happening at some points.
It really did come down to things you can't really control.
Yeah, I mean,
We just had Andre here, had the knee injury.
Right.
He got off to a flying start, but after 2 or 3 games,
Yeah, it's
has to miss out. Kraus had to miss out on games
majority, practically the whole season.
right?
Yeah.
And he had never gone through that. It was just a
It's
lot
just-
of these little things end up having a big difference, especially when, as we say, it's only 12 games, no margin for error.
No,
at all.
not at all.
So it's tough. It's tough. And even, you achieve 24 points, you're like, that's not a bad tally, right? But then you just had Jacks who were on it, right?
Yeah.
And were able to win the division. Of course, they went over to Sarasota to play in the playoffs. Sarasota Paradise, who hosted the conference playoffs, actually ended up beating them 2-0. I watched the game. Jacks didn't do badly at all, actually. So congratulations on a great season. Sarasota actually got knocked out by Fort Lauderdale. So first against second in South Florida. Talk about teams taking points off of each other. It's
There you
second
go.
place that goes through
Yeah.
into the conference final. Just unbelievable stuff all around. Everywhere you look at USL2, you just really couldn't call it. It was a coin toss, I think, was a better way to predict things at some points.
For sure.
Let's talk about our favorite moment, our favorite memory. It could be a goal, it could be a game. You already talked about the Brave match day, right, as a whole.
Yeah.
I think I have to give my favorite, let's say goal, to Alan Martinez away at Brevard. You weren't there,
No,
but I
but I
immediately
saw
sent you the video when it happened.
Beautiful.
My goodness, he
Yeah.
just whipped that thing into the top corner.
You don't hit it better than that. You do not
Alan.
hit it better than that.
Naughty from Alan. I'll actually
Yeah.
play that over this, but I mean, those goals, you just don't forget
No,
them.
not at all. I mean,
What a
it
golazo.
gets whipped in perfectly into that upper left corner.
Yeah, near
And
post.
Near post, yeah. And beautiful.
Unreal.
Beautiful.
Unreal. We collabed with Kickaball on Insta. I think that goal has, over 20K. I'll actually check right now.
I mean, it was just.
It deserves it. It deserves it.
What a shot.
Do you agree? Favorite goal of the season? Best goal?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Just at the end, sneaks it. Yeah.
But we also had some great ones. I mean, Navas on the half volley. We talked about it. Away at Gainesville. The Benny goal.
Of course.
To start the
Yeah,
season. A
yeah.
free
Free
kick.
kick.
Talk about a free
Yeah,
kick,
yeah.
right? Did absolutely wonderfully. Now that we bring up Benny, actually, that's another huge success of this season. Sending players to the next level. Yes,
Yeah,
Andre
yeah.
to the University of Albany. Benny went on trial with Lexington.
Mm-hmm.
Mason went on trial with Greenville. I mean, these are things that's what it's all about. An
Yeah.
academy club, that is what we want. Sending players off
Yeah.
to those professional environments.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's not a possibility. It's a reality that, these things happen. Especially here, we've done such a good job, I think, at just being able to prop up, our players, or they we're just doing such a good job, I think, just bringing guys that are talented regardless,
Yeah.
right? That are able to, have these experiences, that are able to trial with professional clubs, and some of them obviously making the jump to that, right? It's very exciting because that's who we get to watch in our own backyard,
Absolutely. Of course, as UCF fans as well, we
Right.
see a player like Luca Dorado. He just scored another goal for Forward Madison.
Right.
This is what we can start getting used to at NONA now. We're
Yeah.
going to start seeing our players that
And
we
then-
offload to the top
And
level.
then it's just a matter of
scoring
time
goals.
seeing one of our own academy players
Exactly.
has gone up through the youth ranks, play for USL2. If he goes off to college, great. If he gets picked up by a USL1 or championship team, even better.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's a possibility.
It's starting to become a reality.
Right.
We had a conversation about that during the game as well, during the last game of the season. But it's becoming a reality, and these things don't happen overnight.
No.
It takes years
takes
and years
years.
of hard work, of perseverance, right? The academy only started in 2016, so you think about it, in a little under 10 years, right?
Yeah.
It takes time, and finally it's becoming a reality, like we said. And the vision of the club is going to stay the same. Continue to provide a pipeline for these academy players to play at the top level, whether that's USL2 at one stage, and then, of course, make the additional step up and continue climbing in their football journey. Let's fast forward 5 years, right? And I'll bring up to you the 2025 USL2 season. What will you remember from it?
I think we just gotta keep in mind everything that we've done this year. Just as a whole, just new ideas. Whether it was just let's just record this, let's do that, whatever it was. I think anything that was new this year lays the foundation for future seasons. So I think we can always just look back. Well, we started this thing back in 2025, right? I think it's just gonna be one of those things, later on down the road, like, oh yeah, it originated from this idea, and now it's like morphed into this, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right?
And it all started in the 2025
Right. I
season.
think
yeah.
2025 was just really the year that I'm not gonna say it was like a reset, because it wasn't a reset.
Okay.
But it was more like just kind of like a
Progression.
Yeah. It's just point is there's a lot of changes, but a lot of positive changes
Yes.
that we can all look back fondly on.
And not even lying, by the way. I just got a text from a UCF
Mm-hmm.
student as well who's like, hey, can I get involved with NONA FC?
There you
These are the things that are happening
Yeah,
now.
I mean, it's just because look,
It's contagious.
The thing is, it's such a great opportunity for us, for all the other interns that we had, Andrew, Gio, Becca, whoever, Brian.
The list goes on
you
and
know,
on.
Everybody that was involved as a whole. Look, it doesn't matter if you know the sport inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether, whatever. But you have to take those opportunities, no matter where they come, whether it's in basketball, whether it's in football, whether it's
Yeah.
in soccer.
Yeah.
You just have to take the opportunities, And fortunately for me, I like soccer, right? We like soccer. We like the sport. So this works perfectly
It was
for
meant
us.
to be.
We were always going to say yes to I
Yep.
think, to this opportunity. But that's the thing. You just got to take those chances, I think. And more people that know about it as well, the program will only grow even faster.
Absolutely. And before you know it, ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting to preview the 2026 season.
Oh,
We
man.
laugh about it now, but I'm telling you, it's going to come.
6 months,
like
we'll be
that.
like, oh my God, we're a couple months away. Yeah.
And we'll start it all over again.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of it all. But I think that does this season justice, Patrick.
Yes, it does.
It does. It absolutely does. If you haven't already, get yourself up to date. Watch all of the unrestricted. Watch the previous shows and kind of relive it. It's all here right on the NONA Sportscast YouTube channel. But the show must go on. The show must go on, and we are going to switch gears over to the Club World Cup and give our take on the brand new tournament, everything that went on in and out. We were, of course,
Yeah.
involved, so stay tuned for that.
Hi there. At Migaloo Pool, we make pool care easy, convenient, and hassle-free. We're your one-stop shop for everything your pool needs. Whether it's regular cleanings, equipment repairs, or even a completely pool remodel, our experienced team is ready to handle it all. You can trust us to keep your pool sparkling and running perfectly. Looking for supplies? Stop by our Orlando store. It's stocked with all essentials and extras to keep your pool in top shape. With Migaloo Pool, it's all in one place. Professional services, quality supplies, and a team that cares about your pool as much as you do. Let's make pool care simple and enjoyable. Contact us or visit our store and see how Migaloo can make a difference for you.
Everyone, we are back, Nan, for the second segment of today's show, and it's all about Club World Cup, as it has been, right. for most of this summer. We're just going to give our takes, give
Yeah.
our thoughts about how the tournament as a whole went.
Yeah.
It provided a whole summer of football action, despite all of the talks, right, and all of the criticisms the tournament was receiving before it even started.
Right.
I would say it lived up, and I would say people who were talking before actually ended up enjoying it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, look, all right, let's jump to kind of where we left off, right? Final,
Sure, yes.
Chelsea winning 3-0.
Surprise result.
Like, what?
What happened?
What
In the
happened?
first half, by the way, 3-0 in the
3-0
first
in the
half.
first half. Against PSG that conceded one goal in every game before that.
Beat Real Madrid by 4,
Like,
beat
you
Bayern
never
on
would
the
have expected
way,
that, right?
Inter in the champ.
So, with that being said, right? The final, it's concluded. Chelsea, first modern, I guess, format of the Club World Cup.
Chelsea world champions.
Look, I honestly think I didn't want that result to go that
No,
way,
me
but
neither.
I honestly think that result kind of solidified, like, look, there's no shortage of drama at all, because I think everybody definitely had at least PSG winning that match.
Everyone was wrong.
Right?
Everyone was wrong.
Everybody was wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, look, how can you can't act like that wasn't an exciting point at all. Because even,
Yep.
I was at work watching on my phone. I'm just like,
What is
oh
happening?
my gosh. We saw it. And look, it was an exciting way, I think, to end the tournament. The tournament as a whole, I was always very optimistic about. Because, for me, the general idea of just teams from different continents playing each other in competitive matches, that's I feel like that should be a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, at least. And I was always excited to see how these games were going to turn out. And look, I had a lot of fun. I caught most of these games. Maybe I probably
I
missed.
agree.
I probably missed like 10 of them in the group stage, and that's it. And look, I loved every moment of this tournament. I don't care what people have to say. I personally enjoyed it.
Score out of 10.
Out of 10, taking into account like literally everything, every little
the
detail.
The tournament as a whole.
Literally everything. I'm going to have to give it like an 8.5.
Okay.
You know,
I was thinking 8. I was thinking 8.
8.5.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about, okay, what were the big talking points before the tournament started? Okay, well, are these games necessary? That was the big one. Are these games necessary? Oh, it's
are
just
the players going to care? Are
it's
the European teams going to care? Yep. That was the whole narrative
pretty
around
much
the tournament.
The main number one talking point.
Yep.
Does this tournament actually matter?
Yep.
And I mean, I would say at least just judging from how results went, how the tournament progressed, I think the further along you went, it kind of made it looked evident that, look, these teams are still trying to give 100%. It what they can. And, you know, the players are, you know, whether they were celebrating or tears of joy or tears of sadness, you know, whatever it was, I think it was evident that players definitely cared. They definitely did. I understand that, look, we can talk about, again, schedules all day long. But that's something that, realistically, I just don't think is ever going to get fixed right now. And, look, you just got to adapt. And, like, I'm sorry, like, everybody's got to go through it. You know, everyone's schedule congestion, you know. Yep. Yeah, are there ways to combat that? I would say yes, you know, but you're never going to satisfy anybody. There's always going to be that group of people that are just be like, no, that's not the way you should do things. And look, that was the biggest thing for me. Just proving that it's not a waste of time. People are enjoying it. And look, it's the first edition of this new format, you know, and we still have to, I say, just give it some time. Give it some time to really settle in. I think a lot of this, just the prejudice behind this tournament also just doesn't help that, you know, in the eyes of football, right, the U.S. is not an ideal place to be in, right? So it's like, oh, why are you hosting the tournament there? Nobody cares. It's going to be boring. Like, nobody cares at all. And granted, some games, were duds. But I think that's something that you're not going to be able to fix. That's literally something that's not going to be salvageable. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think if this tournament was hosted in literally any other country, it would have had much more positive reviews. Yes. That's my thing.
And look, the Club World Cup was here in the U.S. because obviously, you know, you have the big one right next year. You have the World Cup next year here. I think it was a perfect appetizer. Right. I think we've used that word to describe it, and it's perfect for it. I think. Look, everyone, I would say majority of what I was hearing before the tournament was, oh, you know, this is a waste of time. This tournament, why is FIFA doing this? They don't care about the players, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we can talk about fixture congestion all day if we want. Like you said, though, where's the fix coming? I don't see it anytime soon.
No,
I don't.
Not at all.
So if that's really going to be where you're nitpicking, look, Fluminense, Brazilian teams as a whole, they play 65, 70 games.
Yeah, I see.
Do you hear anything?
I didn't even know that they played at like a state level.
And then the national
I didn't
league,
even know that was a thing.
Do you hear them complaining? That's my point. And the answer is no. The answer is no. And guess what?
The same guy.
Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca was crying about the whole tournament.
He won the tournament.
He was crying. He won it. What does he say after he won it? It might become bigger than the Champions League in a few years' time. Oh, really? Really? So, you know what I'm saying? People who were against the tournament, let me tell you, for one, they didn't shut their TV off. I can guarantee you Club World Cup was on their TV, first and foremost. Second of all, it matters. It matters.
It does.
And the game that I think, if we hadn't been fully convinced, was Man City Al Hilal. Right here in Orlando, when we saw Manchester City players like Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Jeremy Doku, whoever you want, Pep Guardiola himself, frustrated, pissed off that they lost that game.
Yeah.
If you were colorblind and didn't see the blue shirts of Al Hilal or whatever they were wearing, I think they were wearing their blue shirts. You would think they had just lost a game against Liverpool in the Premier League. No, that is how much emotion and passion they poured into it.
They just beat Man City in a round of 16 in Orlando in front of like 40,000 people.
So then you're going to try to convince me and tell me that this tournament doesn't matter. No, I'm sorry. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was against the tournament. At the start, I was like, I'm not sure about that.
Right.
It's another money grab from FIFA. I honestly was in that boat. But right when the games kicked off, once we saw the energy from the fans,
I mean,
there's no helping it. If you love football, you like this tournament.
yeah. And look, it's not a perfect tournament at all.
No, it's not.
We can definitely agree it's not perfect.
No.
It's far from it. But there's a lot that can be worked on.
Yeah.
Again, this is the first edition of that new format, 32 teams. I mean, it was bound to, face a couple challenges.
Of course.
But I think most of them are pretty easy fixes. They can look ahead in the future and be like, okay, that's how we organize this, that, blah, 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 whatever. Point is, I think, just like you said, you turn on your TV, you see just what the players were, how they looked, after the full-time whistle for any of the knockout games, really. It's just more like they care. And, I mean, even being down on the field after Fluminense Al Hilal, I mean, both teams were sobbing, but, one out of joy, one out of sadness.
Exactly.
That quarterfinal matchup that we had here in Orlando, I mean, I just remember seeing, all of the Al Hilal players just on the ground, just they're done.
They couldn't believe it.
And then I also see just all the Fluminense players on the ground, oh my God, we did it. Seeing Thiago Silva with, tears in his eyes. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
It's
unbelievable.
You can't tell me these guys don't care about this, It is.
It was a spectacle.
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting. I loved every bit of it. That we especially got to work here in Orlando more than all. It was
we were involved
amazing.
in all the games. It was such a great opportunity in that sense as well for all the people who got involved. Of course, you were with the host broadcast. I was with the FIFA volunteers, and I can tell you thousands of volunteers.
Yeah.
People came from. There was a guy who drove from Tampa back and forth for each game. You had people from out of state.
Yeah.
It was contagious. Like we talk about Nona being contagious, the tournament was contagious as well. You couldn't take your eyes off of it. And yes, we can talk about weather. The delays that we saw.
Can't control weather.
Exactly.
Man. We literally
talk
can't
about the
control
pitches.
that fixable. Absolutely
again.
Should be.
Yes,
because we can agree that some of the football fields on there, they did not look like the grass was settled in at all.
No.
And I remember just seeing they were finally rolling out that grass days before the tournament started.
And I remember reading something that FIFA will take control of the stadiums for the World Cup a month prior.
They have to.
So they will give it time.
They have
and
to.
the pitches are supposed to be perfect for the World Cup.
They have to be.
That was something that maybe wasn't perfectly planned out for this tournament.
Kickoff times. I mean, that was a big thing as well.
Another one. But then again, you have these hundreds of millions of dollars in these TV contracts.
Yeah, I know. It's so.
It's
tough. But it's just nobody's gonna go watch a mid-afternoon game on a Tuesday. Here, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And maybe for the World Cup, you know what? We might see full stadiums, even if it's on a Monday.
We will, because that's the thing. It's the World Cup.
Exactly.
People from everywhere are gonna travel. It doesn't matter. No, that's not gonna stop anybody for a World Cup game. Mm-hmm. You would go to a World Cup game if it was 12 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Oh, absolutely,
you would skip school. You would do whatever. Yeah, exactly. That's
Don't
the
skip
difference.
school, kid.
that's the difference, though, right? It's a World Cup game.
Yeah.
Everybody is gonna do everything they can to be there, right? A Club World Cup game where you have, teams that, quite frankly, don't have a following at all here in the U.S. Say a team, like Mamelodi Sundowns or Ulsan, or I'm sorry, they were never going to pull in numbers. Never, ever, ever going to pull in numbers.
I agree.
That's the reality.
It's just, of course, there's no getting around that.
And
there's no getting around that.
It's hard, especially at least here in the U.S. We're still behind culturally in many aspects, but especially in soccer.
Talk about football.
In soccer, right? It's a very, very. It's not the same level.
No.
It's not like people are just gonna go and watch because it's a game. No, it has to be somewhat meaningful to them. It has to be a team that they like, whether European team or South American, whatever. But even so, that really is reserved for the most elite of the elite teams, right? The most packed stadiums were really games that had Real Madrid in them.
Okay, we had a bit of an issue, but we're going to pick up where we left off to the best of our ability.
Yes.
So let's just pick up on, again, the impact of the Club World Cup, of course. Like we've talked about a lot, of the emphasis has been on what is going to happen this season, right? What's going to happen after the Club World Cup? Will the players be feeling more fatigued than normal? Will the level drop off in the European season? Of course, this is something that we haven't seen before.
Right.
This load on the players, right? But like we talked about, the sports medicine is as high as it's ever been, as advanced as it's ever been. These players have a support staff that, people are looking at how much they've trained in the last days, how much they've played.
Everything is
to the most
literally
minute detail.
written down. Everything, yeah.
Do you think it'll have a negative effect? Of course, that's what people are expecting, like, for example, at Chelsea, to really start falling off in terms of injuries when you get, like, in the Christmas period, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the level doesn't drop off.
I hope so. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope so that it doesn't happen.
Yes, exactly. Because
But
then the tournament doesn't have a lot to fall back on.
Yeah, and look, I think if it does affect any of the teams, it's really going to be the teams, I think, that really made it far. So I would say, like, quarters onwards, I think we could probably look at those teams as like the control group and see, okay, how does that affect them in their respective seasons? So, we're gonna see how PSG do, how Chelsea obviously have done now that they won the whole thing. It's gonna be very interesting, and it's important as well because, does it solidify the basis that it's unnecessary? Does it solidify all those notions? But look, I don't think that's still a good argument because it's a handful of teams out of tens of thousands across the world, that just have it maybe a little bit harder. But like I've told you before, if you're one of the elite clubs, you're playing in everything, you're trying to win everything, it's kind of to be expected, right? If you want to play for these elite teams, you just have to accept that you're going to be playing and you're going to want to be playing in everything as much as you can.
You just reminded me of a chat that we had over text one day we were leaving the stadium. These elite teams have to expect this. This is it comes with the territory. Like an Enzo Maresca, I've already shouted at you. I'm sure you're watching, Enzo. No, but we've already talked about, they start complaining when they have midweek games in the Champions League. They start complaining about having more games, but guess what?
That comes with the territory.
That is what you want to achieve in your career.
I think
you want to get to a point where, you're playing twice, maybe 3 times a week. Is it not ideal? Probably not.
No, I mean, it absolutely 100% takes
You probably
a toll.
want a week to recover, and that's in the perfect world. But sorry, this is not that.
I'm realistic. If you want to play at the highest level, you're going to be playing for clubs that are participating in practically everything, right?
And
it's just part of it.
We talk about the championship, for example, 48-game season. You don't hear them saying, "Oh, this is too much." Hey, they know that this is what they have to expect, and they know this is what they have to deal with. So fixture congestion is always one of those. I always find it interesting when the topic of getting rid of domestic cups, for example. Maybe not an FA Cup. I'm not talking about the main one, but maybe like a League Cup.
I understand
like a Carabao Cup. That sometimes gets touted. It's complicated, though. We saw France do it. They got rid of theirs. Maybe in Spain they used to have a second one. I could be wrong. Yeah. But man, that's also a difficult thing to get right, though, because then you're getting rid of hundreds of years of history.
Yeah.
So it's very tough. And that's always an interesting one to me.
The thing is, that's also opportunity for clubs that don't necessarily play in European competitions all the time either. You have to keep that in mind as well. So you get rid of that, you get rid of money for them, all kinds of stuff for them. So it's like, you got to pick your battles. And if you want to play at the highest level, you just have to accept that schedule congestion, it's not going to go away. It is what it is. We all hate it. Yes.
Exactly.
But that's I'm sorry.
That's how it goes.
That's just the reality. That is the reality.
And I think we're so far deep into growing the schedules, growing tournaments, there's no going back.
You can't reverse it.
Because then the numbers don't match up.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
And look, overall, the Club World Cup, though, it was a great time. We all loved it. One of my favorite games, bias aside, outside of Al Hilal Man City. Okay, we've talked about it so many times. Boca Benfica was amazing.
It opens your eyes.
Was amazing.
It just does.
There's so many really, really good games that ultimately we wouldn't have seen otherwise without this tournament.
And you know what I think gives you the best picture in terms of the improvement that was made in this tournament? Look at the former World Cup. Club World Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I
think it's gonna stay in the form of the Intercontinental Cup.
Talk
about a tournament that you could get rid of FIFA. That's probably where you're looking at.
I don't like that. See, I didn't like that old form, 17 or 7
Why
teams.
keep that around?
You know, the best team. Like, there's no point. There's no need for it at this
The
point.
European teams go straight into the semis or
Right?
straight
Like,
into the finals.
there's no need for that.
No.
There's no need for that.
Because guess what?
If there wasn't I don't know.
Is
I don't
anyone
like
going
it.
to really be watching that tournament
I
after
don't
what
th-
we saw with the Club World Cup?
I don't think I've seen a game of that tournament beforehand anyway, because I didn't really care for. I can actually
No.
say I did not care for that.
But
it wasn't my thing.
The beautiful thing was that now this new Club World Cup format made us care, made us want to watch these games. Because, I mean, the drama, the excitement that was going on, the whole thing on the zone, I think they did a great job with that.
They did. And look, here's another thing.
They made it accessible for everyone, and they made it interesting.
They did. Yes, they did. And look, here's another thing. I remember even just like from like a work perspective, just being there, you know, I think there's obviously genuine interest in it, because I remember when I first, I guess, like, got into contact with all of them, you know, seeing, you know, okay, what kind of work I'm going to be doing, you know, just looking over like the social media accounts and everything. And you see just the growth, at least online. You know, I remember that account, I think for the DAZN football account, it had like maybe like 200K at the beginning, and now it's over 1 million. And look, people want to, they need to see this stuff, and they clearly wanted to, you know. So if you just look at social media interactions as a whole, you know,
that tells you that,
sure, it's maybe a little bit different, you know, from like watching it on TV or something, but like, look,
those numbers mean something, man.
There's
Those numbers mean something.
Interactions mean a lot, and it was remarkable to see how many numbers all of the accounts combined total did essentially.
We look at those numbers for our NONA accounts as well, and it provides a perfect gauge for how it's doing.
I think it does. So
here's another thing. Now that we're on the DAZN topic, the ref cam, something
I
brand
loved
new.
The ref. I loved it. I loved it.
So the tournament wasn't only an innovation of the former you know, competition and the format. It was also a testing ground for things like this.
Look, here's my thing. I've never understood the complaints of like, oh, you know, we don't try that stuff out in soccer. It doesn't. It's too American. How does that make any sense?
No,
how does that make any sense?
We always ask for transparency.
You want to know where VAR came from? MLS.
Yeah.
They were
one of the first ones.
They were the guinea pigs here in the United States, and now it's used globally, right?
Exactly.
And that's the thing. I just think stuff like that is fun. It just adds a little bit more. It's harmless. A ref cam is literally harmless.
A little. I wouldn't even. I would think it was maybe like a body cam they would attach. It was on the earpiece.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was always trying to see where it was. Like, is it on the shoulder?
The cam was on the ear. It was like ear level.
Oh wow! I just see. I thought it was like
no.
I could never decide where
it was connected to the whole, you know, communication, which is already a part of it.
Look, something like it's harmless. I think it adds a lot more like fun insight, especially
a brand new angle.
Yeah, like referee POV. Like that's something we don't get a lot of anyway. So I think things like that should always be welcomed. Club World Cup was a lot of fun, and look, again, kind of to like wrap up this whole talk, because we could go on forever, right?
We really how much time do we have? Let's order food. Let's stay here.
We really could. You know, the main thing for me, I think, is just that, going back to kind of just the same topic of congestion and fatigue.
Ironing out the wrinkles that remain.
It's really, hey, it is what it is. It's here to stay.
It is.
And look, the reality is, if you want to loosen up those kinds of issues, you know, at least kind of have a little bit of work around it. You know, we're already moving into the territory of, you know, you're spending a ton of money for your backups. And I think that's just the future of the game, right? You're going to have to spend 50, 60, 70, 80 million for a backup
players.
winger just for depth.
Like a Madueke.
Exactly.
50 mil for a backup to Saka and Martinelli.
Right.
That's the world we live in.
That's the world we live in. And so a good point of that now would be Marcus Rashford going to Barcelona. Literally was told his role is to just cover Rafinha. You know? And that's, if you want to compete, I think that's the direction we all have to go into.
And that is a perfect a perfect segue to segment 3. We will catch up on all the transfer news. But to wrap it all up, Club World Cup a success. I think Gianni Infantino,
but it was amazing.
Look, I think Gianni Infantino leaving this tournament, the FIFA as a whole will be like, yeah, there's definitely something to work with here. I think they'll be happy with how it turned out. I think the fans have come around to it.
Yes.
Especially the naysayers right at the start. I think there are much fewer at the end of the tournament than there were at the start. So that our little 2 cents on the Club World Cup. It's going to be interesting now to see, again, how these teams move into their new season. But stay tuned. We got transfers to talk about.
Something new, something fresh. Yeah, I'm super obsessed. Let me know when you done messing. A little that, a little this. Then you put it to the test. It's all in the expression. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. And now I want it more. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. Okay, you got the floor. It's looking good. I kinda like that. I kinda really like that. It's looking good. I kinda like that. Come on, let's see some more. It's looking good. Keep it going, get it right. Not a trouble inside. You can't argue with perfection. Ooh, you working something up with a little bit of luck.
And just like that, we're back for segment 3 of this episode of the NONA Sports Show. Thank you for tuning in once again. Patrick, we've had a busy day. We had Andre in here previously, and now we get to do our thing once again. So, transfer news, lots to catch up on. And the Premier League is obviously the place to start. Whenever you talk transfers, whenever you talk about big money being spent, it's going to be in the Premier League. And Liverpool, 100 plus on Verts.
Yeah.
And they're reaching the 9-figure mark again, this time on Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Had a great season in the Bundesliga last time around. A striker who's just recently come to prominence, of course, was at PSG. Didn't really find his form in France, but at Frankfurt became the top man. And Frankfurt are becoming this team that love to sell strikers on. I mean, Jovic, Sebastian Haller at one point.
Wow.
There's a, right? I mean,
Throwback.
what is he up to?
If it feels like a throwback, right? I'm like, wow.
But Ekitike is the latest.
Next man up.
Maybe Darwin Nunez is going to get offloaded. Of course, that just has not worked out for Liverpool.
Oh, no. And here's the thing. I think Liverpool, genuine contenders with Arsenal right now. Liverpool could easily get back-to-back here.
Scary.
Arsenal are going to be their best challenge at making that happen.
Rivals, yeah.
Assuming Arsenal, of course, get their deals through officially, right? We're still waiting for so many things that
yes, we are. We'll get to that
out
in
of
a
their
bit.
control. But
yeah.
I mean, Liverpool right now building. I mean, they've always had a competitive Premier League winning squad, right?
Yep.
This is another one of those years as well. I think we shouldn't expect anything too different from them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Liverpool are just going from strength to strength. And you think back to how they won the league last year. Arne Slot, brand new.
Totally.
He's going to take some time. You
know,
Jurgen Klopp just left. A god in Liverpool just left. Surely they come crashing down to earth. No, not at all.
They dominated.
Not at all. So then you think they're adding these pieces. Frimpong as well at the back. Of course, Alexander-Arnold leaving. I mean, they just keep adding these pieces, and you think, man, I mean, they're not taking steps back in any sense of the word. Take a look at Arsenal. Deals are being done. Kepa, Norgard, Zubimendi, already, you're reinforcing your squad. Noni Madueke, again, the fourth signing already. You take a look at Christian Mosquera. He's going to come in from Valencia, fingers crossed, to back up the likes of Gabriel and Saliba. Of course, we saw the negative impact. You take those players out of our team, and man, the drop off it's pretty steep, right? So you add another player like that, but then the one thing we've been crying out for years and years, arguably we haven't had a prolific number 9. Maybe when Gabby Jesus came in from City, but then again, he's not really your killer up top. He likes to drop in, he likes to drift wide. So maybe you're looking back at Aubameyang, like a Zet. When the last time we had a bona fide, right, number 9, Victor Gyökeres is our man. Yes, Sporting are making it difficult. But we will eventually drag him out of there.
We'll get there eventually, right? But it's just, right, they just don't want to let him go. And he doesn't want to stay. He's made it as obvious as it can be that he wants to move on.
But then you add that piece to this team. You add that piece to this Arsenal side, and Liverpool will be looking across their shoulders and thinking, look, 3 second-place finishes in a row. Surely this is the year. That's all that's missing.
And look, that's all that was missing. Yeah, you're right. Just a striker, a number 9 that can actually put the ball in the back of the net.
You talk about 13 or 14 draws that we had last year. If you have a number 9 up top, let me tell you, that changes. That changes. That is a game-changing signing. And then, okay, that would make it 6 signings, right? Mosquera, Gyökeres, and then potentially an Eze, for example, coming in from Palace.
See, I would like to see that. I
Oh
really
my
would.
goodness. Then you're looking
like
at
to
a
see
true, Premier League challenge.
Yeah.
Of course, pressure gets cranked up. Every game is going to be like a final. It doesn't matter if you're playing Sunderland or one of the other teams that came up, or if you're playing Liverpool. Every game, the pressure is going to...
yeah.
The magnifying glass is going to be at 1,000x, right? Because you just can't slip up.
No, not at all. I mean, there's literally no room for error. And
Yeah.
Arsenal has lived through that for years
Yes,
and
we
years.
have.
There's no room for error. Minimal slip-ups, right?
Mm.
And look, I really hope... I think Gyökeres will join
Eventually.
Arsenal eventually. It's just sooner rather than later, though. I'm excited to see, when that finally happens,
Yeah.
how he translates into the Premier League. It's going to be... Portugal... Very different, like we've said before. Outside of the top 4, drop off is pretty
Right.
So it's gonna be very interesting to see how he can fit into English football system.
Yeah. We saw he was prolific in the Champions League as well.
Yes.
So hopefully he carries that form, of course, scoring a hat-trick against City. So fingers
Would be
crossed
nice,
that gets done in the next week or so. I can't really handle much more waiting on that one. But let's move over to some other signings. Elanga from Forest to
Yes.
Newcastle. Newcastle have been in the headlines mainly for Isak. Looks like he's going to stay. Then you
Right.
add an Anthony Elanga type player to this
Yeah.
front line, and Newcastle are going to be pushing for Champions League again.
Again, yeah, I've always liked watching Newcastle. I've always liked... They're one of the teams I'm like, yeah, I hope they have a good
Yeah.
season. I hope they do good. And I like seeing them contend for European positions, right? I don't doubt that they'll be able to do that again this year. It's going to be very interesting to see how Elanga... I liked him at Forest anyway.
Yeah.
But I like it feels like for
A
that
good
kind
Newcastle
of player,
signing, yeah?
it's a very
Yeah.
Newcastle signing. It feels like a good player to have on your team regardless. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. And then speaking of Forest, obviously we've had this whole drama with Gibbs White and Tottenham and, seeing how that's playing out.
Yeah,
There's
that's
definitely no shortage of news coming out from Forest.
a little messy when it comes to
Yeah.
Gibbs White. Of course, you look at Tottenham, Mohamed Kudus, but is that really enough for Thomas Frank's side? I
don't know.
would
We'll have to
probably
see.
bet against it.
See, they're going to be very interesting to watch as well, I think, in my
Yeah.
opinion. After seeing, last year was a mess. They won Europa League,
Oh,
then they get rid of Ange Postecoglou.
Yep.
And then now we have Thomas Frank, who I liked at Brentford. He
did a
made Brentford
fantastic job.
Brentford. That's
yeah,
through the
yeah.
Brentford we know.
Got them up from the championship, made them a solid, Premier League outfit. Great that you bring the Bees up, though, because they are going to struggle this year. I just have a feeling.
Mbeumo.
Mbeumo, going to United, of course, Christian Norgard to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Brian Mbeumo, this thing, talk about Gyökeres taking a long time to get over the line. This was like one of the first rumors that came out in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's only now getting, over the line. Okay.
Why United?
Look at Cunha. They got him in from Wolves.
Yeah.
Okay, you're adding Mbeumo now. What do they have there? You have Ahmed Diallo.
You got to look at
have
the goalkeeper situation as well.
Hoyland. Yeah, of course. You have Xerxes. Onana injured as well. I look at a projected starting 11 for Manchester United, and I still raise my eyebrows at it. There's so many questions there, and it doesn't look like they're improving the squad. And then they're getting linked to Nicholas Jackson. Shut the lights if you
Shut
go for
the
Nicholas Jackson. I'm sorry.
I would take him over Angulos or Orlando City. Please do something. Get rid of him. Anyways, but yeah, Mbeumo to United. Look, United have, again, we can talk about United, I think, all day. Like, they've just been total jokes for years.
He's proven in the Premier League. I just don't think they take him to the next level.
Right, that's the thing. Like, I like him, but not at United. United are just a total
train wreck.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire over there
And
in many aspects. And it's just, why would you want to play there?
You talk about Amarim, right? He went in there last season. Okay, right? You're not going to get sacked.
No.
You come in the middle of the year. I'm not changing. I'm not changing my style.
Though.
I'm going to play my three at the back. Blah, blah, blah. He wasn't getting wins. You got to a point where Sean Dyche went on the Overlap podcast and said he would win more than Ruben Amorim.
Yes.
Okay? Let's leave that there. if he doesn't start getting there's no room for ever this year. Talk about Arteta being under pressure at Arsenal with all these new signings. Amarim needs to get off to a hot start.
I wouldn't be surprised if by December, if they're still in a poor place, he's gone.
Man.
But that's the thing. It's just a revolving door of staff.
Who's going to make this work at United? Who is going to make this work? We talk about reset the whole thing. Like, get rid of the whole squad. We tend to say that in a joking sense.
I'm so serious.
We're serious about this at the moment.
Fire every single... I don't... Spend the money you need to spend to just bring in a competent squad to at least let you finish top 10. But, like, that's literally the stage is get rid of everybody. Absolutely everybody. Horrendous.
Wow, it's really bad at United at the moment. Amarim is going to be in the hot seat. He's going to get those questions asked to him right from the start of the year.
Yeah.
Man, it's just everything's all over the place.
It really is.
And they're not helping themselves with these signings. Yes, you offload Rashford. That's the next one we'll talk about. But you still have Garnacho on your books. You still have...
Xerxes.
The list goes on. Yeah, Xerxes, Højlund.
Yeah.
Man, you wear the number 9 at United and you're scoring no more than 5 goals in the
No, that's not even that's below
recruitment.
Unacceptable.
Come on.
Like, I don't
you buy
know.
him for 70 mil. Yes, he's a raw striker. Yes, he's a young talent.
Minimum of like what was 10 goals too much to ask for?
I guess it is. At this point it is.
You know?
At this point it
10
is.
goals too much to ask for.
Man, let's talk about Rashford. One of the Men United unwanted lists.
What an interesting career.
To Barca, though. On loan.
Upgrade?
He got... Look, I would say so.
Even though, like, yeah.
He went through a revival at Villa, right? Enjoyed his time at Villa, I would say. To Barca, he's going to be a squad player. I don't think he gets into that starting 11.
No. Like I told you, his role is to cover for Rafinha when Rafinha needs rest.
But I think he'll be happy with that move.
Playing for Barcelona.
Barca don't get Nico Williams, but you get Marcus Rashford.
I guess. I mean, like,
lots of unknowns.
Like
there.
I'm not a big fan of Rashford in
Me neither.
general.
Me neither.
But I would definitely say I would take this over United any day.
Oh yeah, Barca are going to be favorites for La Liga again.
Champions League.
He
can actually compete.
Like you said, you join Rafinha, you join Yamal, you join Lewandowski there.
Look.
Is this what he needs? It might be.
Maybe he just needs to be surrounded by good players.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He just needs
which he's lacked
forever, right? So maybe he surprises us a little bit. Maybe he gets more involved than we expected. But this can be a very interesting chapter for him in his career at Barcelona. I never expected those two.
Me neither.
To connect. But
when that rumor first came out, I was like,
again,
do Barca really want to get into that?
That's the stage that we're in.
Absolutely. So that's going to be another interesting one to follow. Let's talk about a little CONMEBOL to UEFA move. Richard Rios going from Palmeiras, of course, a Colombian starter in that national team. We saw him at the Club World Cup. Now moving over to Benfica. I'm guessing Benfica watched him at the Club World Cup and was like, oh, we could use this guy. It's just a good move. I mean, Di Maria left, Rios, a replacement.
Look, I think... Now that you kind of brought this up,
that just clicked.
I think the Club World Cup also kind of did a good job at being able to promote some of these guys. Because now, not just him, another player from Flamengo also made a move to Roma, I believe, as well.
Yes,
I don't remember his name. But yeah, I mean, it's not the first time we've seen a move already now, kind of post Club World Cup from South American clubs to Europe pipeline. I think it's a good move. I think he can thrive, especially in Portugal.
I think it's a great fit.
He can become, I think, one of the more prominent Colombian figures in Europe.
Wesley made the move from Flamengo to Roma.
Yes.
So, absolutely. Puts these guys on a... Again, we talk about the platform it provides. It really does. It really does.
Similar to how the World Cup does that for smaller nations and smaller players. There you go.
Let's finish on this one. Alba back to Europe. Aubameyang is going... Of course, made the move to Saudi. Spent a couple years there. Kind of went off the radar. He's going to get thrust back into the Champions League with Marseille.
Yeah. Look,
I like the move, though. I like it. He's
I've
still
always
challenging
liked
himself.
him as a striker.
Yeah.
I know you do, especially you.
Not the end, but yes.
Right. But the point is, I like this move. Marseille, I think it suits him just fine. I think he was always capable of staying at that high level anyway.
Yeah.
Again,
just took the bag.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age, what a surprise, right?
Right.
But I've always liked him. I think he's going to thrive in France. I I would take him here if I could as well.
Yeah.
He's always been just a striker that when he's performing, he's on top.
He's a prolific goal scorer. And I think Marseille are going to absolutely love seeing him back in France and love seeing him back in Europe. Those were the main headlines. Of course, we didn't even touch on the Barca goalkeeping situation. Ter Stegen's out.
Right.
Emi Martinez might be on the move. United are obviously looking for a goalkeeper. And so much more. I'm sure the next time we talk transfers, a bunch would have changed again. But Patrick, thank you so much for joining me at the NONA studio. Technical difficulties and all, we get through it. Make sure you stay tuned. Again, Academy and Studio is going to keep coming. All that content is going to keep coming, and so much more on the NONA Sports Cast. But from me, the USL 2 season may have ended, but the content just keeps on coming. Thank you so much for joining us. Catch you next time.